In this video, it will show you step by step on how to disassemble, how to replace and clean the cooling fans and the heatsink, and how to change the thermal pads and the thickness of the thermal pads, and how to repaste. What's up everyone? If you haven't subscribed on this channel, please consider subscribing and click the notification bell so if there's a new video coming out, you'll be notified. And also there's a link in the description down below in each videos for the tools and equipment I've used, which is available to purchase in Amazon.com in United States and Amazon.co.uk in United Kingdom if you're interested to get one. Let's begin the tutorial. But first, the screwdriver that I'm going to use is the wow stick screwdriver, which is powered by battery, and the screw bits is a Phillips screw VH1, and this manual screwdriver which is equivalent to VH1 as well. So here's the three options. The first option is if you want to just change the fans or clean inside the fans and the front area of the heatsink. All you're going to do is to unscrew 12 screws. There are 4 screws here, 4 screws here, and 4. So there are 12 screws in total just to remove the front shroud and the fans. So that's the first option. And the second option is if you just want to change the thermal pads and the thermal paste and you don't need to remove the front shroud and the fans, all you're going to do is unscrew 6 screws at the back, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And also before you do that, you have to detach the 2 4-pin fan connector, these two. So you have to detach these 2 connector before you unscrew the 6 screw. And then the third option is if you want to remove the backplate. So you need to do the second option, which is removing the 6 screw, and then you can do the third option, which is to separate the backplate from the PCB, which is 9 screw. But that 9 screw is only accessible inside the PCB, that can be accessed only when you already detach the PCB from the heatsink. So you do the second option first before you can do the remove the backplate. Okay, so the first thing they're gonna show you is the first option. So if you want to remove the fans and the front shroud, unscrew 12 screw 4, 4, 4. So I prefer to use this long manual screw for the removing the front shroud. The shroud is more easier. So 1 screw here, so make sure your screwdriver and your screw bits is a magnetic one. So I recommend to use this magnetizer. Screw. So this 6 screw that I just removed, that is the 6 screw that holds the front shroud itself. See, you can access now the back of the fan and the front area of the heatsink. But if you want to remove or replace the fans, so there are 3 screws in each fan, so 9 in total. So now removing the 6 screw can remove the front shroud and access the back area of the fan. So if you just want to clean your fan, just remove 6 screw, 2, 2, 2, and you can access like this. And if you just want to clean the inside area of the fan blades and this area, you can just 6 screw, and it's so easy. You don't need to detach the fan connector if that's what you want to do. But if you want to totally remove the fans, you have to unscrew the 9 screw, 3 in each fan. And then, because what we're going to do is I'll show you the whole process, so I'm also going to remove these 2 fan connector. So I have recommendation tools to remove that safely. So I have these special pliers. If you can see, the tip is different kind of pliers. So if you are interested to get one of these, please check the link in the description down below. So to make it easier for you to remove, just do like this. Make sure you're not gonna damage the wire, and then I'll do it in the other way around. so I can show you. So just grip the each end of the connector and then pull it up towards you. See, it's easier. Right, so now you can access the front shroud and the back of area of the fan, and you can clean it. Okay, so that's the first option. So the second option, if you want to just change the thermal pads and the thermal paste, you don't need to do the first option that you just did. All you're going to do is to remove the 6 screw. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you can detach the PCB from the heatsink. And then as you can see, this GPU is still sealed from the manufacturer, is MSI sealed. So that means all the thermal pads inside is still original and stuck from the manufacturer. So it's still the original thickness that you can see. So now we're gonna use the electric screwdriver. So first we're gonna do this. So now we're gonna break the seal. Okay, so now you can detach the whole PCB from the heatsink. So you have to do that carefully. Make sure you're not gonna break anything. So you have to hold in the middle area of the PCB and the heatsink as well. So there you go. So now you can access all the thermal pads and you can replace your thermal paste. Okay, so that's the second option. So the third option, if you want also to remove the backplate from the PCB, so you need to do second option, which is removing PCB from the heatsink, and you have to unscrew 9 screw, which is this 9 screw, which is only accessible if you separate the heatsink from the PCB. So because it's been covered in this area, so you cannot easily access those screw if there's a heatsink inside attached. So you have to remove the heatsink first to remove the backplate. So the backplate is made of metal, so there's a possibility that there's thermal pads in between this underneath here. So you have to unscrew 9 screw. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So by removing that 9 screw, you can remove this metal bracket here. This is a metal bracket here, and this is also like metal heatsink. That's especially for this area, for the VRMs. So the VRMs, this area here and this area here, this is part of the VRMs. The VRMs have different kind of chips. So VRMs area here, VRMs, but the VRAM is only this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 gigabyte VRAM. So this is only the VRAM. So I'm gonna show you also, we're going to remove this 9 screws so that we can see underneath the heatsink, this backplate. We can see what is the thickness of the thermal pads underneath. So I'm gonna use the electric screwdriver. So we're gonna start this 4 screw here. So never ever mix up all the screws because they are in different shapes and sizes. So always remember the group of the screws. So what I recommend, if you get one of these, this pad is a magnetic one, and you can just slide all your screws in there in orientation where you got it from. So now you'll be confused because there are lots of different screws. And also I have recommendation this kind of magnetic trays. This is a metal tray, but there's a magnet inside, a big magnet inside. So all your screw will just stick in there. So right, that's a 1, 2 screw. Okay, so I have to remove this heatsink. So this heatsink, there's special pads as well, is attached underneath here. So make sure you just, when you remove this heatsink, you just leave the screw here on its hole so that you'll not be confused later when we put it back together. So just leave like that. And then you have to remove another heatsink, this one, this long one here. Just loosen the screw and then lift up the heatsink. This mini heatsink. There we go. And also there's thermal pads underneath, so just put it like that. The reason why I arranged all this screw that I've been removed from the PCB so that easier for me to remember. So these two screw here, this two goes to here, and this will goes here, so it's easy to remember, and then this will goes here. You have to arrange like that to make it easier to remember. So okay, we have to remove the rest of the screws. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, so another 3 more screw. So this 3 screw is attached to this metal bracket here to the backplate. So don't mix up the screw again, because the screw here is much bigger and longer compared to the other 2 screw here. So these are the difference. So they're not the same size, they are different, so pay attention with that. Okay, so now right, we can remove the backplate. So now you can access the backplate. So these are the thermal pads underneath the backplate. So this thermal pads here, it serves to cool down the back area of the VRAMs. So this area here is the VRAMs. So you don't need to remove this metal bracket here. This one you don't need to remove. If you want to remove it, just unscrew 2 screw here. These 2 screw here, but you don't need to do that if you just want to change the thermal pads and the thermal paste. So we're not going to remove that. So now you go. That's all the procedure on how to disassemble this GPU. So next I'm going to show you the thickness of the thermal pads. Yeah, later I'll show you the thickness of the thermal pads, and then later on I'll show you the model of the fans and the part number of the fans. So to get the measurement of the thermal pads, I'm always using this kind of tools. This is called the vernier caliper, but the one I've got is a digital one, so it's driven by a battery here. So if you're interested to get one, just check in the description down below. This is a really good one. It's very accurate. And also there's a manual type of vernier caliper, which is I also got one. I'll show you. So this is the manual caliper, but I prefer to use the battery one. It's more easier for me to read in the LCD screen. So okay, so I'm gonna show you first the thickness of the thermal pads, which is located underneath the backplate. So we're gonna measure this, and then I'm gonna use these tools. It's called like prying tools. Okay, so all the tools that you see in this video, just check in the description down below. Mostly the link is in down there. So this one is quite thick. By the way, this one, all the thermal pads you see in this video is stock and original from the factory, and this card is only a few months old. I will not gonna replace the thermal pads for this GPU because it's still in really good condition, in good shape. As you can see, they are in good shape. Look, it's very thick and it's really in good condition and still stuck from the factory, so I will not gonna waste this one. I don't want to replace it with a new one. It's still really good. So this one here, so this area here is for the back area of the VRAM. So this is from the backplate area. So what I normally do is to spread this in the wider one and then slowly bring it to the thickness of the pads. So it looks like 3mm. As you can see, it's 3mm. So this one is 3mm, and this one is exactly the same. I don't need to measure this one. They are exactly the same. They are exactly the same, and this same. Yeah, they are 3mm, and also this one. So all the pads here in this area has 3mm thickness. So 3mm, that is from the underneath the backplate area. So next is I'll show you the pads which is on the top of this VRAM. So VRAM first. So I'm going to remove this so that it can be easier for you to see. Alright, so this is quite smaller compared to the one at the backplate. Right, so this is it. It's the VRAM thickness is 2mm. This one has the VRAM. So this area here, these 8 pads has 2mm. This is from the VRAM. Yeah, as you can see, it's 2. And for the VRMs, so the VRMs, okay, and for the VRMs, so what we're gonna do is to measure first this one here. So this one, this pad goes here. So we're going to measure this. It looks like so this one is 2mm and exactly the same as this one. But if you just wonder why is it different, looks different shape on this one, they are exactly the same, but it's just becoming like this because this is the top of this fence of the heatsink. It will go like this, so that's why it gets a different shape. But they are exactly the same 2mm. So this 2 goes here, 2mm, and the pads underneath the heatsink that goes here, so this will goes here. So these 2mm pads will goes on the top of this heatsink, and this one goes on the top of these chips. And then the one underneath, it looks thinner, so we're going to measure that. So this one is for the heatsink, the small heatsink, the long one that goes here. So this one looks thin. So this one looks thinner. It's 1.5mm. It's 1.5. So the pads underneath this heatsink, small heatsink, has 1.5. So this is the heatsink that is the long one, and we'll check the short one. So the short one, okay, I don't need to measure it because I can just compare it from here. The looks the same, thickness is 1.5 as well. So the heatsink of the short and the long, it has 1.5mm. So the thickness of these pads which is underneath here in the long heatsink and the short heatsink, they have a 1.5mm thickness. So they are exactly the same thickness, 1.5. So that's all the thickness of the thermal pads. So there are how many? There are 4 different thickness of thermal pads on this particular GPU. So to round up, the back area has 3mm, and this inside area, the VRAM, has 2.5. This one is 2.5. And this is from the VRMs, which is this one here goes here, and this one goes on the top of the heatsink. So this 2 has 2.5mm, and oh, by the way, this has 2.5, the VRAM, and the VRMs, this 2 has 2mm. This goes here, and this area here goes at the top of the heatsink. But the one underneath the heatsink has 1.5. This one, the one on the long, and the one on the short heatsink. So it has 1.5. It's a bit thinner. So that's the thermal pads. I'm going to show you now the fans. Right, to remove, or if you want to replace the fans, you have to unscrew 3 screws in each fans. So we're going to do that. I'm going to use this to make it easier. So these two fans here is linked together in one connector, and this one on my left is the black one, which is separate. So we're going to remove the fan so that I can show you the part number of each fan. So by the way, if you're struggling to unscrew the fan, you have to, the fan blades has a gap on it. They are not on the same closer gap, and there are wider gaps. So you turn the fan blades and bring it to the wider gaps, more easier for you to unscrew. So this is okay. So this is the fan on my right. So I'll show you the part number. So this is the part number of these fans. Okay, so this is the one on my right, but it looks identical. We'll see. So this is the one on the middle. So this is the one on the middle. Let me check if they are identical or not. Part number PLD. Yeah, they are identical fans. Yeah, they are identical. So let me check the third one. If the same. So this is the one on my left. So this is the one on my left. So yeah, it looks the same, exactly the same model, same part number. So they are identical. That's a good thing, because if one of these three fans is broken, you can just buy exactly the same part number, and then you can just check it here. Or because this two is linked together, you can just modify the wire and solder it, and it's all done. So that's the fans. So now it's time for me to clean the fans and all the residue that's sticking in the heatsink and the PCB. So first I'm going to clean the fans. I'm going to use just a normal paintbrush, and also I have a recommendation to use an air blower. So I recommend to use this air blower. It's the Makita DAS 180, which is, this one is an 18 volts brushless motor, and it's I forgot, I think this one is LXT. So this is from the LXT range. It's really good. It's very powerful. So I recommend to use this, and check in the description down below if you want to buy one of these, and the brush. So I'm going to brush. It's very important to clean properly the inside part of this front shroud and also the fan, because it's difficult to access if you already put it back together. It's difficult to access the inside area of the fan. So if you remove it, so you should clean it properly. So just brush it. So when you clean the fan, you have to brush it individual of each fan blades. See, so you can see the difference. Plenty of dust, and it's now starting to get clean. Because dust could affect the circulation of the air. So one down. And then blow it with the air blower. Okay, so the fan is done. Right, next is I'm going to clean the heatsink. The heatsink is already very clean, so just to brush it a little bit. And also blow the heatsink with the air blower. And to clean the residue of the thermal paste, I always recommend to use a 99.9% of an isopropyl alcohol and any tissue or microfiber cloth. So you have to remove the residue before you put a new one, and then use a microfiber cloth. So it's so easy to clean with the alcohol because all the residue could melt easily. So now it's clean. And also this area of the PCB, make sure to clean this. Right, so make sure to check the whole PCB front and the back. Make sure there's no moisture. So in my case, this one has a bit of moisture. This moisture came from this backplate area. It came from this one here. So over time, if you're always using your graphics card, especially if you do heavy games, yeah, that's normal. Of the moisture, it will develop. So this one I have a moisture a little bit. So what I'm gonna do, the best way to get rid of those is to clean with the alcohol. So what I'm gonna do is use a brush. Don't be scared to use an alcohol because they are the best one for cleaning the moisture, and rub it. But make sure you have to dry them totally before you put it back together. So because 99.9% of alcohol, it could dissipate very quick. So just make sure to blow it with the air blower after you rub it, and then put it back again. So this will remove the moisture. Have to check. And by the way, if you're working with your GPU, make sure to put this cover on to protect the connector. So there's no moisture here inside. So I'm gonna dry it with a microfiber first. Just tap it a little bit. Don't rub it too hard because there are some chips here, very tiny chips, prevent that to get damaged. So just tap it slow. See, and now it's getting dry. It removes the moisture. And then be careful using a microfiber cloth because there's thin fiber from the cloth. It will stick in there. So make sure to get rid of all those microfiber before you put it back together. See, now it's clean. Okay, it's totally clean. Let me check the connector if it is clean. Yeah, it's very clean. So there's a very small thermal pads on here sticking underneath on this bracket, but it's exactly same thickness of this 2.5 millimeter. It's underneath. It's very tiny, so you don't need to place that. And brush the whole PCB. And make sure to be safe, blow the hole in and out of the PCB with the air blower. Okay, make sure it's totally dry. So can I do that? And it's you have to clean the inside part of the PCB as well. Oh no, the PCB, the backplate. Just brush it a little bit. It's still clean. to make sure it's dry. Okay, it's time to put a thermal paste on it. So the thermal paste that I'm going to use is SYY thermal paste. So this one here. This is also a good quality one. And also I have a recommendation. It's a GELID GC4. This is a really good one. This is also a good one. GELID GC4, also a very good one. And if you need the thermal pads, also I recommend the GELID GP Ultimate thermal pads if you need one. So everything, check in the description down below for the link. So on this particular video, I don't need to replace the thermal pads because it's still a really good one. So, and then when you put in a thermal paste, make sure don't put too much and also don't put less. Just estimate it that it's enough to cover the whole die. Because if you put too much, it's gonna be messy and it will just spread here in this area, so it's not good. So just like that. And then always spread it with a spreader. It's more effective heat dissipation if you spread it, because a lot of times I've seen in the videos, tutorials, that you just drop something like that and just press it. But the thing is, when you press it, it's not guaranteed that you press it equally. So sometimes this one, if you don't press it on these 4 points here, sometimes this paste will just go on one side and nothing on the other side. So to make sure it goes equal area, so you have to spread it manually like this to make sure it covers the whole die. Just be patient doing this, and it's worth it, and it will give you a positive result by doing this. You don't need to spread it until to the edge, just spread it up to there. Yeah, just like that. Okay, yeah, just like that. Right, okay, it's time to put it back together. But the first thing you're gonna do is to put it back, the PCB and the backplate. That's the first thing you're gonna do. So to do that, make sure you are in the correct orientation of the PCB and the backplate. So this area will goes to the outwards, so it goes like this. So make sure all the pads is attached in the proper area. So you have to check it carefully. And then it's very important that all the screw points, mounting points will goes in perfectly to the hole. So you have to check this hole here that is in perfect position. So this 4 here, if you can check this one, that is the perfect one, and also check the rest of it. Okay. Right, the first that I'm going to screw in is this long heatsink. So this will goes here. So make sure the pads is clean. I'm going to use a tweezer to put it in place properly. There we go. And then I'll just use the manual screwdriver just to be safe. Don't screw it in all the way down yet, so that it can be equal with the other side. So, and then now screw it in all the way down gradually, so that it can be equal. Okay. Next is the other small heatsink, the short one. So this will goes here. So goes here. Let me clean. and then screw it in. Okay, so next is this 3 screw. So the bigger screw, the thicker screw goes here in the corner. So screw that one first and don't tighten it too much, and then do the other 2 smaller screw here. Okay, screw it in all the way down. Don't over tighten it, just snug in here. Okay, so next is these 2 screw here. You can just screw it in all the way down, because this is the last 2 screw for the back plate. Okay, we're done with the back plate. So to check everything, make sure the screw is not loose and not over tightened. Make sure you put in all the screw. Check before you put it back and attach the heatsink. Okay, looks good. So next step is to attach the heatsink to the PCB. So make sure to check all your pads is properly aligned to prevent problem, and make sure all these pads is sticking. And the best way to do it is to do like that. Put the heatsink on the table and make sure this is where you check. These 4 mounting points here will goes perfectly to these 4 holes here. So make sure the pads is on. Make sure to check everything, pads on. Yeah, okay. There we go. Check the mounting points. Don't press it first before you make sure that the 4 screw points is aligned properly. Okay, is this all aligned? And drop it. Okay, press it. And then the proper way to screw this in is to this 4 screw. You have to unscrew it in crisscross pattern. This 4. So we have to screw in this one with the sealed. Turn it until it bites, and now it bites. So the next one, this is 1, and then the second one will be this one. And now it bites. So 3rd and the 4th. Now don't screw in the other 2 screw here. Just leave that one at the moment. Just do this one. You have to screw it in gradually. 1 turn, then the second one here, crisscross pattern. 1 turn. So 1 turn is screw until it touches fully down. So for this technique, the purpose of it is to know that thermal paste that you put in the GPU die and the plates of the heatsink, it will evenly stick together. So that's the purpose of it. Okay, so screwed in the other 2 screw. I'll just use, to make it faster, I'll just use the electric screwdriver. Okay, and then check the alignment. It's very important to check which is properly aligned. If you see a unusual gap, that could cause you a problem. So make sure it's properly aligned and flat. Okay, so we're done with this. So we're gonna work on with the fans. So I'm gonna screw in the 9 fan screw first before the front strap. So to put it back the fan, make sure the mounting points of the fan, it will sit perfectly. So be careful by doing that. So you have to do this one first. By using a tweezer, you can arrange the orientation of the wire. Put it back. There you go. And this one here. And then, so this is the crucial one. You have to make sure the mounting points here, it sits properly to the screw hole. It's difficult to see sometimes, so that's why I recommend, if you're working on a GPU, always you should buy one of these lights. This is the headlights, LED headlight that you can attach it to your head, so it's very handy. So this particular one that I have is a Bloka brand. It has a lot of different kind of brand, so this one is really good one. I have this for a few years. It didn't disappoint me. It's a USB-C charger, and it battery lasts for, it depends on how you use it and the brightness of the lights. So I recommend, check in the description down below if you want to get one of these. So put in your head, it's more very convenient. Okay, so make sure the fan sits properly. So the screwdriver I'm going to use to screw in the fan is this long one. It's more easier for me to use. So you check the rotation of the fan, make sure it doesn't catches in the screw. Right, third one. Right, that's the 9th screw of the fans. So next is, this is the final one, to attach the front shroud and the fans to the top of the heatsink. But before you do that, make sure you attach the fan connector. So by using our special pliers. So be careful doing this. Don't force it because it's plastic, it could break easily. So just be gentle with it. There we go. First the white one and the black one. Okay, so make sure align these screw holes here to the heatsink. Okay, I'm going to use the manual screwdriver to make it easier to squeeze in this tight corner. Okay, so check in each fan, it spins freely. Okay, and check all the screws. So just visually checks everything is in place and everything, all the screw is screwed in. That's the end of the tutorial. If you find this video helpful, please consider subscribing. That's a big help for this channel grow, and I can carry on making more tutorial videos like this one. Share and click that thumbs up icon. Thank you so much for watching.
Wow.